Speaking of the Flux Kit, we are so delighted that you agreed to make an arrangement for our current exhibition.
I was kind of suspicious if
no.
I could do it because I couldn't see the real site, real space, and what kind of showcase they are going to use. Just by exchanging mail through internet, I thought it would be impossible. So I wrote to Gretchen that if I saw the real arrangement, then I might be able to say some comment to changes and this. But she was so enthusiastic to make me the first display, and he sent me a lot of photos of all the items. So I thought I had to do something, and I made a kind of collage work on the large sheet of paper. But actually, the size of the showcase was changed afterward. So Gretchen rearranged depending on my first idea, and I thought she did a very good job. I was happy finding the photograph of it, and I'm very thankful to her collaboration with me, actually.
Wonderful. And of the specific items that you chose to have on display, what sort of relationships did you hope to draw out with those items and the way that they were placed with their adjacencies?
Well, I think the creators are very professional about displaying better than us artists. But speaking of arranging a lot of items, the similar but the different charactered items, what I usually do is I scatter each card on the desk, which method I took when I determined the order in time and order in space to organize. When I organized the Fluxus Media Opera, I performed more than 40 pieces, 40 performance pieces of Fluxus. I wrote the title and the composer's name and made more than 40 cards and placed on my desk, and I watched them very carefully for a long time. And it seems to me some cards attract each other and started moving to find the best combination. And there occurred a lot of combinations. It seems the card itself combining to find their best position. I'm not a magician, so actually the card didn't move, and it occurred just in my imagination. I listened to their resonance to combine themselves and make many combinations and order what was the best position for them. So that's one of the techniques I do to arrange lots of different things in one space or in one duration of time.
That's a fascinating and beautiful explanation of how you make that arrangement. It's lovely. I have one more question for you. I've read some of your letters that you had written to George.
Oh,
and I was really struck by the way in which you wrote to him. The language expresses a fondness, and I felt that you were able to be very honest with him. And
yes.
The letters show some concern, I believe, that you had. And one of the letters you were writing that you were afraid that he would become isolated amongst the other artists, and your own words were that he may commit social suicide.
Oh, commit suicide. Social suicide, yeah.
So I guess my question is if you could just speak a little bit about the politics or the complexities of the Fluxus network, because as you said, there were so many people involved.
Yes, but I don't know much about the politics in Bruxelles, but speaking of George, he was too eager and too impatient to realize his plan or his dream, and didn't understand what other people think about it. And sometimes he get angry with them. I thought he was like a big child. He was very pure and very intellectual and had a lot of idea. But sometimes his idea was difficult to realize, like founding the Fluxus village in isolated island. How they could live. Actually, I heard that actually they borrowed the boat and actually went to the island, but there was nothing, no electricity and no gas and nothing. It was kind of just a dream. So George had a lot of conflict with other artists, but still people knew that he was very good-minded, honest and warm person. They tried to help him as much as they could. I was one of them. So I felt I feel I owe you. No, I felt I owe a lot to him. He helped me a lot. So he was like a big brother or uncle for me. So I was always worried about him. And sometimes I said very straight word to him. He understood. But conflict between the artists themselves, I don't know. Sometimes I heard somebody is criticizing someone, but I had no concern the conflict between them. As far as I'm concerned, I had a good relation with most of them through the special poems or Fluxus Balance or organizing Fluxus Media Opera or Fluxus Trial, and I have either have a good relation with them or no relation at all. So, not negative relation with anybody.
And just a quick follow-up question. You mentioned the island. Was that Ginger Island? The potential Fluxus Island?
I don't know. I don't have idea. And he wanted to come to Japan so eagerly. Right. And he sent me a letter to establish a Fluxus village somewhere in Japan. But actually he couldn't come to Japan. And I worried about the climate in Japan. It's very humid, and humidity is bad for his asthma. So I couldn't recommend him to come to Japan, but he had interest in Japanese culture. So I think it was better not to come to Japan for him.
Well, I thank you. Your commentary is just absolutely invaluable. It's just been wonderful.